Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Of course, this is your host, White Collar Goon, the creative and artistic manifestation. And this is the Angels in Politics broadcast. Shout out to the Angels in Politics philosophy and philanthropy. We are definitely very thankful for those individuals who have been dedicating their energy to and putting forth their energy to the angels and spiritual market. Some people don't know what that is, but that's just the ABCs. That's just altruism, benevolence. That's just appreciation. That's just caring. That's just compassion. That's just creativity. And, we can keep going. The diligence, the determination, the enthusiasm, the encouragement, the empowerment, uh, the empathy. Oh my gosh, the empathy. Thank you so much for your empathy. We feel that. All of us, we do feel that. And continue giving out gratitude, radically so. Continue scaling your passions. So that's what I'm doing here with you guys. Actually, listening is my currency. Listening to you all is my currency. And I know that I do a lot of speaking, but this is so I can provide you with enough information so you can respond back to me and give me your thoughts, give me your interpretations, your perspective, your many perspectives, because some people might say I feel this way but I also feel this way, and you might wake up tomorrow and feel something else, feel a different kind of way, and that means you are a human being. Shout out to that. Shout out to the fact that you are being open. Shout out to the fact that you are in alignment. um I want to tell you a story about, like, when I was living in when I was living and working in Thailand. I met a lot of cool people. I was working with a lot of individuals whom I probably wouldn't have come across. Matter of fact, for a fact, I wouldn't have come across them back here in the States doing whatever it was that I was doing. So I speak about my nonprofit, which is Political Connections, and that deals with the same thing: manifestation, alignment, self-actualization. But it really, the subset is, it's not just who you know or what you know, it's both. It's the synergy, it's the synthesis of, continuing to cultivate, develop, and educate, enhance yourself in all areas, in every sense of the term. But that also means, meeting new people. That means getting out of your comfort zone. That means you are the books you read and the people you associate yourself with. So, who are you associating yourself with? If it's the same motherfuckers who you grew up with, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that's probably not the best thing for you. You need to meet new people. You need to get out of your comfort zone. You need to, get out, shake things up. And of course, it might be uneasy. Of course, it might not be something that you're too welcoming to. It might be something that you're not too keen on. You might be like, hey, I don't like making new friends. I don't like going in new environments. I don't really like meeting new people. And it's just something that you're gonna have to get over, unless you're okay with where you are. If you're spot on and not even okay, you're like 100% content. Like, you're 100% like, there's no way I can get better in any sense of the word. There's no way that I can improve my spiritual body, mental body, social body, emotional body, physical body, psychological body, my cognitive spectrum, my cognitive discipline. There's no way. Like, I'm at a 10 out of 10. I'm at 100 out of 100. My sexual body, everything is on 1,000. Like, I'm just perfect. If you are perfect, you're probably not living here on this planet, but I respect that you are at that mental space. Actually, I don't respect it. I want you to improve. But anyways, I was in Thailand, and I was kicking it with really cool people. There were individuals from, like, places that I have never been: Utah, Minnesota, the UK, Northern England, Southern England specifically. Um, of course, the locals of Thailand, but within that group, there were mostly people who were from, these Western nations. And I was the only guy who was from Virginia. I was the only guy that looked like me. I was the only, I think I was the only guy from the East Coast, or whatever the case may be. So it was just a different vibe altogether. And it was like this amalgam of people and personalities. There was this compilation. There was just this, like, smorgasbord of people and personalities and their spectrums, and I got to interface with them, and I got to feel that vibe, and it was cool. But there was this girl, very smart young woman, very cool girl, and she was making she made a joke because on the weekends or whenever we had some time off, we would go to like the islands and have a good time, and for those individuals who haven't been to Thailand, I suggest you do go. The flights can be a little pricey, but you can find really good deals if you check the airlines quite often. And when you get there, oh my gosh, I mean, if you're from a Western nation, if you have the dollar, if you have the British pound, if you have the euro, like, you're rolling out there. If you have the Canadian dollar, the Australian dollar, you're rolling out there. If you know what I'm saying. And if that's just a normal person, but if you actually are making money and you're like established, or you have your own business, I would say if you can have a lean business, if you can get yourself flexible, if you can get yourself in the position whereby you can operate your business remotely. Oh man, like, if you're not hitting in Southeast Asia, I don't know what you're doing. If you're not in India, I don't know what you're doing. If you're not in the Philippines, if you're not in Vietnam, I don't understand. No, you should be out there. If not for business, for rest and restoration and creativity and relaxing and just the full vibe, for the culture, for the cuisine, for the people, for the synthesis, for the synchronicity. Oh my gosh, you need to be in alignment out there. So boom, I was chilling with my homegirl Danielle and all of us, and we were out somewhere, and we went to some of the islands that they have in Thailand. They call the beginning of, or for the word island, they say the word ko. So Koh Samui, Koh Phi Phi, Koh Phangan, Koh whatever. That means island Samui, island, blah blah blah. So we used to go to like Koh Samet, which was our nearest island that we would go to, and we had good times there. We raged out there. We showed our face out there. And I don't know. My homegirl Danielle was there with her boyfriend. Her and her boyfriend stayed with us, or well, she was working with us, and her boyfriend was working remote, so he was able to travel with her, which is also a really good thing. But if you have your own business, or if you're able to work from your laptop, you can travel the world, and you and your significant other, like, that's a great way. If both of you all are able to work remote, like, oh my gosh, like, the world is your oyster, literally. Like, you could just enjoy enjoy the fruits of your labor, and at a very affordable cost. Matter of fact, it's more than affordable. You're actually like living like a king, living like a queen. But we came back from a weekend of having a good time, and there was there was somebody, I forgot who it was. I don't know if it was Sophie or somebody made my homegirl Laura. Somebody made a comment like, "Oh, Gabe had a good time this weekend," or Gabe had an eventful weekend or something like that. And Danielle was like, "What did you mean?" It's like, "Oh, looks like Gabe got a little whatever. Maybe he found some respect out there. Maybe there were some women that were respecting him out there." And my homegirl Danielle was like, "Oh, so did his money stay in his pocket though? Like, did your money stay in your pocket?" And I burst out laughing. That was actually a really good joke. That was the funniest thing that was one of the funnier moments of of that trip, because for those people who've never been to Thailand, a lot of people don't know why a lot of guys go there, especially a lot of more seasoned guys, particularly the Europeans, particularly a lot of British, Australian, Canadian guys over 50. Like, they've been in Thailand, like, killing it for a long time. Like, when I say a long time, I can't even tell you. But it's definitely one of those things that if you're in the know, oh, for fuck's sake, it's been going down. So guys go to Thailand for multiple reasons, but women is probably high on the list. When I say high on the list, by far number one thing. So other than the beaches, other than the food, other than the culture, but if you're a guy there by yourself, oh, the women is why you're there. So when she was saying like, "Yo, Gabe, like, did the money stay in your pocket?" I mean, we're hearing that you had a good time, but like, if you're in Thailand and you're hooking up, or you're having one of those, mutual respects with women, or a mutual intimate engagement with women, is like not even a question. It's like, homie, you came out of pocket for some shit. Like, it just is what it is. And my response was like, no, 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 like, no, things didn't happen like that. But I can understand how she would say that and why that was the case, because there weren't really many guys within our team. It was me, the guy from Utah, and then there was a guy from the UK. And it would be interesting because we'll go out to restaurants, and this when we weren't in islands, just where we were locally, we would go out to restaurants, and some of the bartenders or some of the waiting staff or the waitresses, the host, there were times where my homie who wasn't necessarily the most, you know audacious or masculine or macho kind of guy, and he was not even the most well dressed. But shout out to him. He's a cool guy, and the women probably found him handsome. They definitely found him handsome. All men are handsome, but he wasn't the kind of guy that presented himself to be. So put it that way. He was kind of a little goofy looking, that kind of guy, a little lanky kind of white guy from the UK. But when we were going out, the waitresses were like literally putting their phone number down on the receipt when they were giving it to us at the end of the bill. And we were at bars and stuff, and I was finding how the bartenders or the bar servers were like rubbing my homie's shoulder and saying like, what are you doing later, and I'll take care of you and shit like that. And it was an interesting it was an interesting conversation, because a lot of us, when we were finally make it back to our building where we worked or where we lived, our apartment complex, and we would sit out and have a beer or a few beers if you're me, when we would just hang out and talk, the girls would kind of always like low-key take the piss and be like, yay, be like, why don't you get any attention from these ladies, but like your boy Joe, like he's out here with like the Thai women all over him. The Thai women are draped over him, and it's like he's getting all this action, and they're looking at him like, we don't understand how that's the case. It's like, I don't know if they were necessarily praising me either. They were mostly saying like, if you, Gabe, were in England, you probably would be getting a lot of attention, or you probably would be getting, I don't know if a lot would be the term, but you probably would be getting respected, from the opposite sex. But here in Thailand, it must be because you're black, or it definitely must be because you're black. At the end of the day, it was like, it has to be because you're black. There's no other reason why, like, the girls aren't really, like, I would even say, uh, how can I describe it? The girls, honestly, in Thailand, treat you like you don't exist, but yet they're all over this guy, and we don't see how that could be the case, other than the distinctive fact that maybe he's taller, maybe it's because he has red hair, or maybe it's because he is of European descent. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like it necessarily doesn't equate. It doesn't coincide. It's like, how is he getting all this attention? And I would say it could be a number of things. Of course, I am a black person, and I was the only black person in that group, so I stood out like a sore thumb. And where we were living, I wasn't living in Bangkok, so Bangkok is a big city of millions of people. Where we were, small town, so it's like, no, I used to like stop traffic, like dead ass. Like, I could walk into a restaurant or walk into a mall, and people were breaking necks, like, and not breaking necks like, who is that? It was breaking necks like, oh my fucking gosh, I have never seen a black person in my life, like that type of thing. So it was like, I understood like what it was to be polarizing on a massive like scale, but and not necessarily for good things, but like just to be like, whoa, like mouth open, like mouth agape, like people looking at you like as if you're a real person poking at you. It wasn't they couldn't like conceptualize it, right? But as far as the girls, I did feel some kind of way sometimes. I was like, damn, like, and the older guys who were at the bar, these people who were post 50, the older white men who were with the big bellies, and they were bald, and they weren't the most handsome guys, but they were out there like living like kings, drinking their beer, and they had these young Thai women around them, and I'm like, how is this going down, guys? Like, what's going down out here? So like, we were talking. One guy was keeping it real with me. One guy, I guess he had a business in Australia, had his family in Australia, but he was in Thailand, and he had this beautiful lady who owned one of the bars that we went to, that we drank at often. And the lady was running the bar, but I would presume he was the the capital for the bar. He definitely was the venture capitalist in that aspect, or he was bankrolling that entrepreneurship, that enterprise, put it that way. So the woman was beautiful. I would say in her mid 30s, early 30s. Really nice shape, proper fit. Like I'm talking like she the abdominal circumference, and we know like there's an archetype that or there's a preconceived notion that most Asian women are smaller and a bit more, physically fit around the body. And they do have smaller frames for sure. And a lot of that goes into, genetics. A lot of that goes into how they eat. A lot of that goes into their culture. Culture is whatever they do every single day. So they definitely do drastically different things than what we do here in the States or in the UK or in Canada or whatever. Like, so like their diet is different, but yeah, there are some women who put forth the effort to look that certain way. And she was on the feminine scale, very pretty, makeup, dress, and well-spoken English and everything. So it's like, wow, she's sharp. So I'm looking at like, she seems competent, she seems sharp, she looks good. Like, why is she fucking with you guys? Like, why is she fucking with this old ass white man? But it was like, and he would tell me, like, he told me straight up. He was like, oh yeah, like, I said something like, "Oh, so that's your lady over there? That's your lady?" And he was like, "Oh no, my lady's back in Australia. My wife is back in Australia. My kids are grown. Like, this is, this she's with me now." But he was saying how like it's not cheap. He was saying like she's beautiful, but it's definitely not cheap. Like, and for a guy to be honest, you need to be honest and straightforward about it, because we're in this world where we think you can just wake up and your hands are up and it's just nothing to have these beautiful women around you, or you have a beautiful woman walking with you. And it's like, if you see a guy with a stunning woman, there is a sacrifice. Not to say that he paid for her with his money in his pocket or whatever, but that guy is basically telling me, like, he essentially like straightforward told me, like, I have to have money for her to be here. Like, that is what it is. It's not because she thinks I'm handsome. It's not because she thinks I'm the greatest guy. It's not because she's like fulfilling she's not pumping my head up with anything. If I don't have money to give her for this business, I don't have access to this woman. That's exactly what he says. So it's like, yeah, she looks nice. Yeah, she's hot, but it's definitely not fucking cheap. It's not cheap at all. And as soon as that money goes away, she goes away. You hear what I'm saying? Like, as soon as the money goes away, you think I'm having access to that? Like, it's not happening. Not even close. So, like, that type of information is not being projected. It's not being conveyed to a lot of guys on a global scale. So it was kind of funny, because when I'm sitting there, I was a bit like initially taken aback. I'm like, damn, like, none of the bartenders are talking to me. None of the bartenders are asking me what I'm doing later. None of these young women are, bustling around me. But then at the same time, it's like, why isn't that? It's not because, well, maybe they don't find me attractive. Maybe I'm not their type. But the reason why I'm not their type is because they don't see me to be the person with money. I'm a black guy. Black people in Thailand or in Asia or on a global sense don't have anything in comparison to a white person. So it's like, no, you can't help me. Like, you can't do anything for me. So when girls were going and writing my homeboy Joe, like, their phone number down, maybe they definitely found him more handsome. Maybe they definitely found him to be more charming. Maybe they said, yo, you are my type and you're definitely not my type. And I get that. You're my archetype and I'm not their archetype. I get that. But for the women who were a part of the crew, the women who were from the UK, from America, from whatever, they could see, it's like, no, it's not that deep. Like, they see white men as a come up, as a financial come up, as a way to get out, to have a better situation than working at a bar. And when they see you, Gabe, like, that's not what they see. Like, they don't see you having the capital or the access, or the access to resources to better their lives, because that's not the worldview of black men. The worldview of when white men come, they're foreigners, and the foreigners bring money. The foreigners bring their foreign currency. The foreigners bring their capital. The foreigners bring their enterprise. So when they see me, they don't see foreigner. When they see a group of black guys, they definitely don't see foreigners. You know, so it's like it's a lot of things that go into it. So whenever I came back and the word was like, "Oh, Gabe had a good time that weekend," and when my homegirl was like, "Yo, Gabe, so what did you pay? Did the money stay in your pocket?" And I was like, "Yo, just don't play me out like that. Don't do me like that." It's like that's the running joke. Like, Gabe, you couldn't get sex if you tried. You couldn't get anything if you tried unless you, like everybody else, got to come out of that back pocket and drop some money down on the table because that's just the way it goes. Color Goon.